Hello out there, and we are going old school today with this bluish gray mat from a couple years ago on the channel, and we are doing that because it provides the right kind of color contrast for the scale on this Kershaw copper Natrix. And this is a knife that we've waited for a long time. It is finally here, and today we are going to do maybe a couple size comparisons, talk about the knife just a little bit, but for the most part, the focus today is going to be on the ability of this scale, this copper, to patina, and just how quickly that could potentially happen depending on a number of variables in use. All right, so we are going to get to that, but I do have a quick shout out that I want to do first, and that is for a channel and for a guy who I've been following for a while, a really good guy in the community, and he's doing some pretty important stuff, and that is Blade Banter, and it's run by a guy named David. Definitely will link to him down below. His past couple videos have been just pretty significant to me, one of them because he helped bring back my $150 knife challenge, so definitely check that out if you like, but he is doing some stuff that is more significant than even that, and the video I'm thinking about specifically is in regards to a couple steel tests that he did when he sent out some different D2 from a number of different companies to get it tested, and came back with some interesting results, some results that really matter when it comes to the kinds of purchases that we're making as, knife buyers, with so many upstart and new companies coming out and trying to use D2, like on this copper Natrix. Obviously, Kershaw is a more well-known and reputable company, but a lot of people are using D2 in budget knives, and we want to be sure that it's real. And so David, among other people, was trying to find that out for us, and he did get some results that, like I said, you should probably check out, because not all D2 is actually D2, it seems. So link to him down below. Also, he is the guy who was at Blade Show West just recording everything, so really doing a lot of good things in the community, getting a lot of information out there, so very cool of him. All right, but now let's get into the copper Natrix, and as you probably know, this is a knife that I've been waiting to get my hands on all year long. One of my most anticipated knives of the year, and guys, I got to tell you, I was really curious how this copper would patina, and especially with me having like sweaty hands, and I always have like oils or dirt when I'm at work, and let me show you, this actually isn't my Natrix. This one is, and the difference is pretty obvious. This is a pretty much brand new one at the top, and then mine, this is after only a couple days. I've carried this knife for 3 days, the day that I got it and the 2 days since. And you can see the spots where like the copper has not patinaed yet. And it is very, very significantly different from the original finish already at this point. And just like for comparison, obviously you can see the two knives next to each other. But if you look inside like the pivot screw, you can see where that like original finish is. And then also underneath the pocket clip, you can just see the distinct difference between where it's patinaed and where it hasn't. And for some people, this might be a bummer. For me, I think it's awesome. I really, really like this aspect of it. I like the fact that it is just becoming its own thing and it's becoming mine. I do sort of wish it hadn't happened so fast, but depending on who you talk to and, how you use the knife and how your hands sweat, then it might happen at a different speed for you. For me, it was very quick, and I did just use this knife a whole lot, and I fidgeted with it a lot and had it in hand just constantly for the last 2 days. So maybe that does play a part in it, but overall, I mean, this is something that you're not going to be able to avoid with this knife. I don't think, just regardless, if you're using this knife, carrying it at all, it is going to go from, the perfect, ideal, out-of-box look to something more like this. And again, that might not be a bad thing. For me, it certainly isn't. And I know that there are also a number of things that can be done in order to get this patina off and bring it back to a more ideal kind of out-of-box finish. So not something that I'm particularly interested in doing myself. Honestly, if anything, just to make it more even, I might take the clip off and try to get some patina underneath the clip just to, make the finish seem more even. But overall, yeah, this is looking, I think, pretty excellent. The look of the knife out of box is fantastic. And I can completely understand why someone would want to hold on to that. But honestly, it's just not that realistic. And so like I said, while your hands probably aren't as sweaty as mine, and maybe, you know, you'll use the knife in a different capacity, or maybe wash your hands more or something, or clean it more at the end of the day, which I didn't do anything like that. You know, you might be able to stave that off for a bit, but eventually, I mean, it will happen like this, and it'll probably be pretty quick. Now, when it comes to size comparisons, that was one of the big questions that a lot of people had. Is it really that small? And yeah, it is. It's a pretty small knife. So here is the carbon fiber Natrix from earlier this year. So just distinctly different in size. And let me see if I do have a mini grip on the table. I always like to use a mini griptilian for a size comparison, because it's a size that a lot of people are very much aware of. And you can see if we line up the cutting edges, the mini grip is actually a longer knife. So yeah, smaller than a mini grip. Sage 5, if you are a Spyderco fan, is just a much larger knife, especially in the handle. And we'll go with the Paramilitary 2 because, well, the Lawn Ranger likes these comparisons. All right, so it's a couple size comparisons right there just to get an idea of how it is. As far as the build, the fit and finish, everything, so far this has been excellent. The action has been very good. The lockup has been perfect. It does have a little bit of heft, a little bit heavy, and I mean, with the copper scale, it's sort of what you should expect. But let me bring in the scale real quick and check that out. So 3.37 ounces, which isn't heavy at all, but for a knife this small, you know, mini grip is 2.7 and is larger. You know, the other Natrix 2.91 and much larger. So, you know, it does have this density to it that I think is a good thing. It makes it feel sturdy, and for a small knife, it just makes it feel substantial. This feels like a user, and that's definitely a good quality, I think. The reason why I'm not going to be doing an overview or any kind of like real review yet is I have had some fit and finish issues with the Natrix line as a whole so far. You know, my first video about the original Natrix, I did have some things about it that I didn't really care for, and I only realized those after having the knife for some time. So, you know, I want to give this knife a little bit of time, but the other reason is that this one right here actually has to get sent back. It has to get sent back to Kershaw. I haven't done that yet. I've had an issue with this knife since about a week after I got it, if that. After a few days of just use and a lot of opening and closing, I started to get some wiggle, you know, in the detent. And then as that happened, and I don't know if it's related, but I started getting up and down, and it is not an insignificant amount of up and down. So it's something that I want them to check out. And before I give the A-OK to this knife, I want to make sure that, you know, it is not going to exhibit the same tendencies. So I'm going to use this and keep carrying this for a good long while, and then we will do a long-term follow-up review about this knife at some point. And if you see it on my top 10 knives of the year list in about a month, you can probably guess that it was A-OK. So, yeah, so that is basically a first look. I'll do a little bit closer of a look at the knife and bring it in versus the other one, so you can just see just how different that is. I mean, you almost can't even see that there's like that stonewash on the copper. That is all but gone, so yeah. Certainly interesting how quickly that happened, but I guess Kershaw did a good job making sure it would happen and kept it from happening before it was unboxed, you know. You could see that it was going to patina quickly when I took it out of box, but, you know, it didn't start happening until I actually used it, so yeah, that's definitely a good thing. Have a lot of high hopes for this knife, guys. It is as expected, if not better, from the start. So Yeah, just wanted to give you that quick look and that comparison and let you know what to expect if you are going to be picking one of these guys up, all right? So any other questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. What are your thoughts on this knife? You going to pick one up? Are you interested more in this one or the bare knuckle that still hasn't come out yet? All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon. Have a good one.